What a great nap that was. Well, it's time to get up. Wait, why am I waking up from a long nap again? Why is the budget higher? Wait, no, wait, no, wait. No! Despite much of my glazing towards Chapter 6 in some of my previous videos, by the end of the chapter, I came to the conclusion that I didn't enjoy it that much. Wait, let me explain. Don't click off the video yet. Yes, I can admit there was a lot of good in Chapter 6. I still think Hunters was a fantastic Season 1. The collabs were awesome, as per usual. Fortnite was great, the Simpsons season was peak, and the live event at the end of it can only be described as absolute cinema. Hell, despite me not liking Season 3, I can still see why others do enjoy it so much. But I don't know, man. This was just a low period in Fortnite for me where the game just wasn't hitting like it used to. I came to the conclusion that the reason for this, for me at least, was the gameplay not feeling all too different or fresh from previous chapters, especially Chapter 5. Sure, the art style is different and bullet drop weapons were removed, but after the stupid parkour features were removed from the beginning of the chapter, Chapter 6 literally became a more vibrant Chapter 5 with hit scan weapons. Chapter 6's supposed core gameplay feature, boons, weren't even that relevant. There was no strategy to them whatsoever, and they were absolutely useless. Just when I thought Chapter 7 wouldn't introduce anything new and would just be an innovation of Chapter 6, when Chapter 7 launched, it literally fixed every issue I had with Chapter 6 from the jump. So today I'll be yapping about my impressions of Chapter 7 after 1 month of playing, along with a little comparison with Chapter 5 and 6 to just show how the new chapter has exceeded my expectations, and also how it's maybe even pissed me off a little. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and use code EXTRATRAS in the Fortnite item shop. To begin with, let me just talk about what makes this season as an introduction better than the last two, at least at the point we are right now. The core gameplay changes. Chapter 5 is better than Chapter 6 in this regard because of the wall jumping and bullet drop weapons, which actually changed the gameplay despite it being not good. But parkour from Chapter 6, yeah, just go back to your corner, buddy. You were removed in the Star Wars season. But Chapter 7 completely washes them both out. For the first few days of the season, the battle bus was completely removed, and now you had to surf to get to the map. Like, that's actually game-changing. Sure, they brought back the bus a few days after, but there is still a chance for surfing to appear. It literally changes how you strategize where you have to land in a game, which is such an interesting change. And that's not where Chapter 7's changes end. Now, reboot vans can be drivable, and you can stick a player in the back of it to revive them automatically. And it's still fair because of them having fairly limited fuel and health. And a lot of the reboot vans have boots on them, so you can't drive them. What's probably the biggest change is a new down but not out system. There's now a self-revive item that lets you revive yourself, and when you're knocked, you can now sprint and even roll. It can literally feel like Dark Souls sometimes when doing this, which is cool as hell. Strangely, it also makes being knocked a lot more fun, especially because of the ragdoll physics. 10 out of 10 feature, no notes. But my two favorite gameplay changes are the new hit marker system and jumping while ADSing. Jumping while ADSing completely changes the game for me. It is so good. I love this so much, especially with like ARs. Like, dude, it's crazy. And for the new hit marker system, when you hit an opponent, there's a hit marker sound, and when you kill them, there's another one, and it feels like Call of Duty, which is a good thing because getting kills in that game feels really good, and now getting kills in Fortnite also feels really good. Moving on to the map and weapons, I think both Chapter 5 and 6 have really good maps in terms of a complete overview of its design. But from a foundational level, both maps have issues. Chapter 5's map had this stupid ravine that I made very clear I despise in other videos, and Chapter 6 had Shogun Solitude, the most useless point of interest in biome in the entire history of the game. Both of these maps also had a degree of uniqueness to them at the start, with the bridge in Chapter 6 and this other body of land connected by two bridges in Chapter 5. The reason for this is probably because of Fortnite trying to get some sort of interest in these maps from the player base with a more complex layout. Honestly though, I prefer a way more simple layout for a map. Chapter 3's map was probably the best example of this, and from a base point of view, it's my favorite chapter map. And Chapter 7's map is literally a reincarnation of Chapter 3's. Such a great layout. I love it. And the POIs are fantastic too. Not going to talk about every single one of them, but the standouts to me are In a Loop or Lethal Labs. I love the glass roofs you can break through, and the 0 point shard being out in the open weapon is sick. Wonky Land is another one of my favorites because it's an amusement park POI. How has it taken us 7 chapters to get one? Classified Canyon is also cool, and it's probably the craziest POI on the island with the sickest underground area ever, and Tip Top Terrace, which just reminds me of the Ewok village from Star Wars, which is funny. The biggest aspect of this season, though, are the weapons. To be perfectly honest, I was expecting a whole new roster of new weapons, and Chapter 7 did do this. Well, kind of. See, a lot of the weapons are new, like the Deadeye AR, an accurate red dot sight weapon, and 2 of the shotguns, with the Iron Pump shotgun and the Twin Hammer shotguns acting as stand-ins for a classic pump and tack shotgun. The interesting thing, though, is that some of the weapons in the season are reused, but for the better. The dual Uzis and Sovereign shotgun are literally from the Chapter 5 Marvel season, and the Hollow Rush SMG is from Squid Game Reload, but here they feel really good, especially the first 2 since they no longer have bullet drop. The sniper is literally just like the Reaper sniper rifle, and the old Enforcer AR from Chapter 5 came back with hit scan. Despite all the weapons not being completely new and unique, call me crazy, but I like it better like this. It adds some familiarity to this chapter, and I kind of feel like that's the vibe that Fortnite was going for. In terms of the more unique weapons, we have the Kill Bill Katana, that's pretty much just a combination of the Kinetic Blade and Typhoon Blade, the Arc Lightning Gun that can absolutely do crazy damage, and the Wingsuit. And let me just yap about the Wingsuit here for a second because it's peak. With both surfing and the new knock system, it seems like Fortnite is experimenting a lot with physics. And yes, it can be goofy, but it can also be very, very cool. The Wingsuit is proof of this, as for some reason, it reminds me a lot of a plane simulator game. I don't know why, but it does. It's not that good of a comparison, though. I like how you can't go up so much without losing momentum, and in order to gain it back, you need to go down a bit. It makes it so this is actually a pretty fair mobility item since you don't have infinite momentum, and you also deploy smoke while you use it so players know where you land. In terms of consumables, it's pretty standard this season. They brought grenades back, I guess, but they're super weak. And the last thing I feel that I need to mention here is the play as a boss feature. I mean, it's alright. I prefer it to the medallion system we had before though, as bosses don't feel as much as a necessity anymore, but they definitely do need a buff. Moving on to story content, and it's Light and Day from Chapter 5 and 6. Both of these chapters sort of introduced a brand new story for Fortnite, unrelated to anything before it. I'm gonna get some hate for this, but the story of both is pretty much irrelevant except for Hope being introduced and the 0-hour live event where we battle the Dark Presence in one of the coolest events of all time. And at the end of it, they reveal everything we've ever experienced in the game was just phase 1 of the Last Realities plan. See the Big Bang? That's how you do a memorable reveal at the end. Opening up Chapter 7 with a trailer recounting the story was another thing I really liked, as it helps people who have fallen out of the story to remember what happened in it, as Epic reintroduces key concepts from it, including the 7. It seems like they'll have a pretty big presence in the chapter, and their fight with the Last Reality will be a pretty big focus during it. A huge W for all story fans, and hopefully they'll be able to keep up this momentum by returning story quests with voice lines and big story live events happening every few seasons. And last but certainly not least, the season's battle pass. Compared to the first battle passes from Chapter 5 and 6, this one is definitely underwhelming. I consider Chapter 5 Season 1's battle pass to be one of the best in the game, and Chapter 6 Season 1 had most of the chapter's story characters in its battle pass, which was pretty cool. This season's battle pass is lame in comparison. Sure, the Bride and Marty McFly are cool, but they aren't on the same tier as Peter Griffin or Godzilla. My favorites of this pass are Cat Holloway and the new Dark Voyager skin, and everything else to me just feels a little lame in comparison. In 8 minutes and 50 seconds, I fooled you into thinking I'm a Chapter 7 Season 1 glazer completely. But I'm not one, so stage 2 of this video, the crash out stage. Look, this video was actually going to release in a timely manner, and it was supposed to be released a week before you're watching this, but the issues I had with the season kept on piling up until they had to be addressed. So this section of the video will take the time to address all of it. I'll try to keep it as brief as I possibly can, but I do not think I'm going to succeed in that. By the way, I will not be talking about the South Park update at the same scale that I have been discussing things throughout this entire video. Just know that my thoughts are literally the same as the entirety of Chapter 7 in that it's really fun and creative. Okay, back to the critiques. Let's start with the smaller problems and work our way up to the big one. Firstly, the overabundance of collaborations this season. This is the smallest issue the game has right now, and it's almost a non-issue. Hell, for me personally, I'm completely fine with it, especially since I mainly use collab skins and like collabs. But for others, it's definitely an issue, and I myself can even see problems starting to emerge. It seems like ever since the start of the chapter, we've been getting collabs with literally everything under the sun. We even got a Kim Kardashian collab. Like, are we serious right now? By the end of the Winterfest update, we already had almost more collabs than the entirety of Chapter 6 Season 1. And we already have more collaboration skins than the entirety of that season. And at the point we are right now, we still have 3 updates to go. In this update alone, we have 4 collabs, which sure is a bit on a smaller side compared to the gargantuan Winterfest update, but this was an update mainly focused on South Park. For that collab, we got 5 skins. The mini pass doesn't even have a skin or premium tier. They put it all in the item shop instead. And to make matters worse, in the same update, we got Adventure Time Wave 2 with 4 skins. Don't get me wrong, I'm really a fan of how many collabs we're getting and how good they are. But isn't it getting to a certain point where it's too much to keep up with? There are leaks for the next few updates that we will be getting a Marvel Rivals Wave 2 with Luna Snow and Magic, my main by the way, a regular show collab, an Office collab, an Ed, Edd and Eddy collab, a rumored Minecraft collab, another Sonic collab, and the freaking Looney Tunes in Fortnite. And for some reason, we're also going to get a solo leveling collab.
Hey, you're finally awake.
All this does make it seem like way more focus is being put into the cosmetic side of things than, you know, the actual gameplay, which should be at the forefront. You know, they even added microtransactions into creative maps, where they take a 50% cut of all purchases. And some of these microtransactions can be extremely expensive. And look, I get it. At the end of the day, Epic is a business. But they could also fix important issues with the game and add awesome content while doing all this cosmetic stuff. Winterfest was another problem with this season. It was incredibly underwhelming, besides the spam of so many good collabs. And they did the worst thing ever for a Winterfest. They removed present stacking. It's literally the holiday season. People don't have all the time in the world to log in to claim their presents every single day. What a great decision, Epic Games. I hope the quick player base boost because of FOMO was worth it. It wasn't worth it. The next biggest problem from there has to be the new UI added with this season. I think this is still a small problem, and the UI will probably be fine as we get used to it and Epic makes more tweaks to it, but it doesn't change the fact that it is very, very, very annoying. The end of match screen is the most egregious of the changes. It used to be sleek and great to look at, but now it's overwhelming, and having the Battle Pass rewards here makes it look like a mobile game. I just can't get over how bad this looks. Is it that hard to just make the Battle Pass a tab in the endgame screen and not have this mess? But the poor UI changes don't end there. The emote wheel was also changed, and I think it's fine. Is it clunky? Yes. Is it laggy? Also yes. Is it good? No. Well, you know what? At least I can search for emotes. And finally, the social menu. I think this is just plain bad. This is probably just because I'm not used to it, but every time I try and leave the game, I choose the sleep mode option instead because they changed the button position for no reason whatsoever. And besides it also being clunky, it just looks so bland. I get they're trying to mirror the Epic social menu from every other game they have in the freaking launcher, but still, the old format was superior. I do like the new messaging stuff though. That's a good one. Also, the lobby and locker is really laggy right now on PC, and especially with the emote wheel. When you choose an emote, it freezes for a few seconds before it starts. Epic, can we fix this instead of spamming out collabs, please? And the biggest issue right now, the matchmaking. I really want to make a video eventually about this topic because it has always been such an important issue in the game. But back to it in Chapter 7. Oh my goodness gracious, skill-based matchmaking matchmaking is ruining everything. So right now, Fortnite bases who you play against with skill-based matchmaking, which takes into consideration your statistics in your most recent games. In solos, it's fine because it's your own skill, so it goes based on that. But when there are multiple players in a party, the SBMM of the player with the highest SBMM is used. So if your friend got Unreal and ranked reload and you want to play a quick match with them, good luck, soldier, you're cooked. But I'm not even sure if they're going to change it so that the SBMM considers all players in the party. Remember, towards the end of Chapter 6, before the Simpsons season, people were upset about bots and how much of them there were in the game. They complained how a win didn't feel special anymore. And here we are. Welcome to the apocalypse, everyone. I just feel like although this is a good thing for the seasoned Fortnite player, for a more casual audience, it would definitely alienate them. I think a balance can be struck between the two perspectives of wanting BR to be more casual again and wanting less bots and more valuable wins, but we'll hopefully see very soon how Epic approaches it, because it's definitely an issue where it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. But ending it off with another recent issue with the South Park update, and even before that, shockwave grenades. They got removed and it's controversial. Of course it's controversial. If you ask me, I do not care. I like crash pads. It's a video game. Play the goddamn game. But yes, this season is good and has great features. And yes, it did surpass my expectations. But I just have to look past that because of all the issues impacting Chapter 7's experience. Just to me, it feels like in terms of a launch, all the previous Fortnite chapters have been more cohesive with their content and the gameplay. At least at the start of all of them. From chapters 2 to 6, it's actually been really fun to play. But with these issues, for chapter 7, it just feels like at times, the game isn't that fun to play. After the first week of the season, I barely played. Throughout Winterfest, I just logged in for my presence. And it wasn't until the South Park update now that I'm playing again, because I'm a big fan of South Park. Bro, they freaking have the Lord of Darkness Cthulhu in Fortnite. What the flip? I don't want to spend this section being entirely negative, so I will say this. I really appreciate Fortnite's new goal of making every game feel unique and different from the last. Them using rift anomalies right now are a really cool way to approach it, despite them being pretty rare. The South Park Stick of Truth anomaly has been the most unique so far, bringing the final circle to you, which is really fun and cool. I'm sure that philosophy will be felt more and more as the chapter goes on, but in all, I really hope Epic can make the necessary changes, especially since they've been communicating with the community a lot more and the actual gameplay has been fantastic. But at the moment we're at, Fortnite Chapter 7 is infuriating.
City boy thinks he's gonna solve a mystery with his fancy computer phone.
City boy! City boy!